In the headlines, INEC says registration continues. Coalition wants Northeast to present presidential running mate. 33-year-old internally displaced person fabricates tricycle in Medjugorje. On the foreign scene, President Joe Biden signs bipartisan gun control bill into law. Hello and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Ekko. And the news in detail. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has extended the ongoing continuous voter registration CVR, which was initially scheduled to end on June 30, 2022. Chairman of the Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, announced the continuation of the exercise during the Youth Vote Count concert at the Old Parade Ground, Abuja, on Saturday. A federal high court in Abuja had stopped INEC from ending the ongoing voter registration exercise. The court, presided over by Justice Mobalaji Olajuwon, on Monday granted an order of interim injunction restraining INEC from implementing its June 30 deadline. The court granted the order after hearing an ex parte motion by the Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project (SERP) and 185 concerned Nigerians. Professor Mahmoud Yakubu also disclosed that Nigerians who are currently registering in the ongoing continuous voter registration CVR exercise will get their cards in October 2022 as against the January 2023 date it had earlier announced. And in politics, as the search for the running mate of the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu intensifies ahead of the 2023 polls, a group, the Coalition for Peace and Progress, is advocating for the vice president's nominee to be chosen from the Northeast. National coordinator of the group, Mohammed Chindu, at a press briefing in Kaduna, said considering the diverse nature of Nigeria and the need to ensure a sense of fairness and belonging, APC should field a Christian from the Northeast as Bola Tinubu's running mate.
For Northeast, when you consider in the recent time, the distribution of leadership in the recent time, you find out that North is supposed to occupy the seat of vice president in NPC. So for fairness, since the president comes from the southwest and is a Muslim, the vice president ought to have come from northeast and a Christian. And we've said that if you consider placing a vice presidential seat to the northeast, and you equally, for fairness, you equally feel that you should be a Christian, we are saying that Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara is the most qualified.
The African Democratic Congress governorship candidate in Rivers State, Tonte Ibrahim, has presented controversial actress Tonto DK as his running mate ahead of the 2023 elections. DK announced the nomination via her social media handles on Friday, where she shared their plans if elected during next year's election. Tonto Ibrahim and Tonto DK were also presented with their certificates of return by the ADC party chairman Ralph Okenwosu in Abuja on Friday. The issuance, according to the party, showed its readiness to start mobilizing for support towards victory at the general election.
You are aware, ADC is out to ensure that democracy is practiced in this country in the right way that it should be. It happened in Abeokuta, where 2,050 delegates, without anybody urging them, decided to vote the way they voted. That's democracy in action. Clear democracy. Some people may not like it, but we are in a constitutional democracy. In a constitutional democracy, you must allow diversity of opinion. What has happened, as far as our party is concerned, is exactly that.
At least 6 persons, including 5 vigilantes, have been reportedly killed and several farmers were abducted in their farms in border communities between Lepai local government area of Niger State and Federal Capital Territory Abuja. Daily Trust gathered that the incident happened on Friday afternoon around Duma, Pada and Rafin Daji communities which border Niger State and the Federal Capital Territory. The commander Niger State Vigilante Corps Lepai Division Muhammad Ibrahim said 2 vigilantes from Niger State and 3 others from the Federal Capital Territory as well as one of the farmers kidnapped from Duma village, Lepai local government area, were killed. The Niger State Commissioner for Internal Security Emmanuel Uma confirmed the incident. And decrying the high level of attacks in Zamfara State, the Zamfara State authorities have directed the Commissioner of Police to issue gun license to those eligible to bear arms. The government said it is ready to facilitate securing of basic weapons for people, especially farmers, to defend themselves. The government also has set up a committee to ensure proper implementation of the measures. An internally displaced person in Maiduguri, Ali Fidel, is into construction and fabrication of innovative equipment that lessen difficult tasks. The 33-year-old inventor recently fabricated a hybrid tricycle, the first of its kind in Borno State. He said if given the support, he'll invent machines that will boost agricultural production in the country. Beatrice Kurutsi tells us more about him in this report.
At the peak of the insurgency in Borno State, Marte was among many communities attacked and controlled by the dreaded Boko Haram terrorists. Ali Fidel's hometown was not spared in the extremist terror campaign. 8 years later, as an IDP in Al-Maskin, life must continue in Maiduguri despite challenges. The 33-year-old survives on proceeds from his welding and fabrication business. Among his collection of inventions is T-Rex, a hybrid tricycle.
I get it from scrap irons, Ajakuta. If I go to Ajakuta, if I went to buy some irons to work for some people, then if I see something that important to me, I will buy it from that side. Then I will come and just pack it. Gradually, then I complete the properties. Then I start constructing it, and I finish it.
Like now, how much to construct this kind of thing?
Even for sale, it really like 500,000, like 700. It's too cost. So I spend a lot of money for this thing. I like it. That's why I construct it.
Ali recalls that his metal work apprenticeship began at the age of 9 under the supervision of his father. His goal is to fabricate mechanical tools that will make farming easy, but his greatest challenge is funding.
I will do many of the things like this. I had many plans, but lack of capital. That's make it like this. Even this one I see, I just very excuse myself before I start because I spend a lot of money for this construction of this one. You know, you are working here, you feed your children, you go to school, all in this work. I don't have any place that is bringing money. You know. Only this welding that I feed myself.
Ali Fidel plans to design and invent more machines if he gets the support he desires. But while nursing such lofty dreams for the agricultural sector, he hopes Mother Nature will one day smile at him and lead him to where dreams translate to reality.
And the Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Khali, has commended the cooperation and synergy between the 194 member countries of the International Criminal Police Organization, Interpol, which has facilitated worldwide police cooperation for enhanced crime control. The IGP equally commended operatives of the Force Criminal Investigation Department, the FCID, Interpol section for leveraging the platform made available through Interpol to curb trans-border crimes, especially crimes that cascade into other neighboring African countries. The IGP gave the commendation following the successful recovery of 3 vehicles stolen from Nigeria in Niger Republic. The achievement, according to a statement from the Force Public Relations Officer Olomoyiwa Adejobi, was recorded following credible intelligence and physical support from operatives of Interpol, NIAMI, which led to the trailing of a trans-border car theft syndicate and the eventual recovery of their loot. The investigation, which lasted for several days, led to the recovery of a Toyota Camry, Mercedes-Benz 2012 550 Shell, and a Hyundai vehicle. The University of Lincoln has banned former Deputy Senate President Ekko from undertaking any further duties as a visiting professor after he was accused of trafficking a 15-year-old boy to the United Kingdom for organ harvesting. Ekko and his wife Beatrice are currently detained in a UK court over the charges ahead of a court date on July 7. They have both denied the trafficking charges. He had been a visiting professor of corporate and international linkages at the University of Lincoln. But according to a spokesperson who spoke to a British tabloid Daily Mail, the university has stopped him from acting in any official capacity. Families of the alleged trafficked children in Taraba State have dragged both the state government and the state police command to the federal government over the alleged release of the suspect trafficker. The suspect, Mary Yakubu, a Wilbur court, was on April 2019 arrested for allegedly being in illegal possession of no fewer than 16 children. Representatives whose children have been under the custody of the state government for the past 3 years said all efforts to get their children and was reunited with their family members have proved abortive. The families who lamented the alleged release of the suspected trafficker while the children are still being kept under the watch of the state government called on the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, waiting by facilitating the release of their children. When reached for comments, the State Commissioner of Police, Abimbola Shiokoya, told newsmen that the case is an inherited one, adding that the police, under his leadership, has been providing adequate security for the children.
With regards to the release of Madam Mary, I would say that I have not been intimated with any information of what actually happened, how the children got to the welfare center. We don't know much about that because this is an inherited matter. Unless I go into the archives or I start checking the files, that's when I can know the position of Madam Mary. But what is certain, the one that the veracity cannot be doubted or controverted, is that the children were there at the welfare center, which is an integral part of Taraba Motel. Forcefully, they were whisked away, and with concerted efforts, we'll be able to rescue. We'll be able to rescue 51 out of the 72 that were whisked away, and we have returned them back to the welfare center. So, Madam Mary, we don't know much, and we would not like to go into what we do not, the case that we did not investigate.
You're watching the news reaching you on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, how horse trading is turning into a lucrative business. Stay with us.
Every patriotic Nigerian should hear this. Any politician who means well for the people will never allow themselves or their supporters to engage in any violent, destructive activities. No politician who truly wants to serve the people and develop the nation will encourage his followers to destroy properties or take human lives before, during, or after the elections. The Nigerian public must watch out for these traits and isolate any politician who encourages supporters to engage in violence. No genuine politician or patriot will cause trouble and seek to destroy the very society which they aspire to lead or develop. Politicians who have the good of the people at heart will not allow themselves or their followers to engage in violence, destruction of properties, and then taking of lives. Be vigilant. By their words you shall know them. Shun violence. Stay away from politicians who want you to do so. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news update on Trust Television. Let's take another look at our news stories. INEC says voters registration continues. Coalition wants Northeast to present presidential running mate. And on the rest of the news, the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, have been accused of not being transparent and honest with issues resulting to incessant strike actions in the country's public universities. Former Financial Secretary of the National Association of the Nigerian Students, John Danladi, and Muhammad Ahmed Marafa, Secretary General of the West African Youth Congress, who spoke in separate interviews, lamented the prolonged strikes in the country and what they called insensitivity of both the federal government and ASU towards finding lasting solutions to the problem. Nana Mohammed has more.
ASU strikes in Nigeria have become a recurring dismal as the union uses the strike as the sole means of presenting their demands for better pay and improved working conditions in the universities. In 2002, ASU embarked on a nationwide strike on February 14 to reject the adoption of the Integrated Personnel Payroll Information System, IPPIS, as the payment system in the university sector. Members also decried the poor funding of universities, non-payment of salaries and allowances of some of their colleagues, as well as the inability of the government to pay earned academic allowance to lecturers, among other issues. While the federal government says it is still in talks with ASU, concerned bodies such as the NANS and Youth Congress say major stakeholders in the education sector are mostly not involved. They accused both parties of selfishness and insensitivity to the children of ordinary Nigerians who rely on the public institution to acquire education.
I think it's not proper when decisions are being taken on behalf of students and students don't have representative in that decision. I think it's very wrong, and these are some of the things that is delaying the strike. Solution may come from the students or even from the parents.
Mohammed Ahmed Marafa added that the actions by both the federal government and body of the ASU, if not addressed, will force the youth to the streets.
They are not even fair to us. They are not transparent and they're not fair to us. Why I say such is this? When trying to handle a situation, you should look at who is the victim of that situation. Who will it affect? Is we the students. It's not that. Let me tell you, these people, their children are schooling in private universities.
Speaking on Trust TV's breakfast show, Daybreak, the national chairman of the Academic Staff Union of the universities, Professor Victor Emmanuel, said both parties have reached an agreement, adding that the union is waiting for the FG to sign order calling off the strike.
Go around all our universities. Would you see any foreign student in our university? Would you see any foreign lecturer in our universities? If they are not, how come our going outside the country, go to Ghana, Cameroon, and what have you for program?
Since the industrial action began, several negotiations between the union and the government have ended in deadlock. While government and ASU take their time to address their differences, millions of young Nigerian students can only hope that this recent move does not end in deadlock like previous ones. Nana Muhammad, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And still in the education sector, the National Examinations Council, NECO, has dismissed as fake the news in circulation that it has postponed the 2022 senior school certificate examinations for schools-based candidates. The Council, in a statement by its Heard Information and Public Relations Division, Aziz Sani, said the examination will hold as scheduled. Sani, who maintained that the examination will commence on Monday, 27th June 2022 and end on Friday, 12th of August 2022, urged state ministries of education, principals, commandants and all stakeholders to disregard any speculation on the alleged postponement of the examination. He said the Council had put in place all necessary measures to ensure a seamless conduct of the examination, adding that candidates are to be examined in 76 subjects during the exercise. The horse is an animal with unique features, loved by all and used by some special people in any society. Now, many in Nigeria refer to the horse as a royal animal, and the reason is simple. Now, first, kings and other traditional rulers as well as traditional title holders ride on horsebacks, especially on special occasions like Salah and other festivities such as Durbar and polo games. This important class of people also use horses in sports such as horse racing, which is one of the lucrative businesses in Middle East and Sub-Saharan Africa. Abdullahi Yamade visited one of the horse markets in northern Nigeria and has this report for Trust TV.
Interestingly, there are only two major horse markets in the northwestern part of Nigeria, and they are Maiadua in Katsina and Megatari in Jigawa State. At the Maiadua International Border Market in Katsina State, the business seems to be more lucrative as festive periods like Salah are approaching. The market is declining because the patronage of merchants is dropping due to insecurity. Before the deterioration of security situation, we used to have merchants from Enugu, Delta, and other eastern states. Prices vary depending on the size, color, and physical fitness of the animal. Prospective buyers here pay between 500,000 to 1 million naira for a horse to be used for polo, daba, and other activities. Negotiations have been concluded. The horse has been sold, and this is the money, says this middleman. An interesting dimension to the trading of horses is that customers are allowed to take a ride to test the animal to see if it fits the profile of the buyer. On a sad note, weak and sick horses are sold to traders, mostly from eastern Nigeria, for consumption. However, one of the major constraints in the horse trade at this border market is the instability in exchange rates and continued devaluation of the naira. The major issue affecting us in horse business at this border market is devaluation of Nigerian currency. The exchange rate is now about 1,000 naira to Niger currency, that is CFA. There are some other factors which heighten the risk of the trade, which may result in traders losing their business. Government may need to urgently intervene in a strategic way to save the sector from collapsing. Abdullahi Ismail, Trust Television News, Katsina.
On the foreign scene, President Joe Biden on Saturday signed into law the most significant gun control bill in 3 decades, one day after the House approved bipartisan gun legislation that was approved by the Senate last Thursday and sent to Mr. Biden for his signature. The Bipartisan Safer Communities Act passed by the lower chamber by a vote of 234 to 193. The bill enhances background checks for gun buyers of 21 years, provides billions for mental health services, and closes the so-called boyfriend loophole to prevent convicted domestic abusers from purchasing a firearm for 5 years. In addition, the plan provides $150 million in grants to incentivize states to start crisis intervention programs, clarifies the definition of a federally licensed firearm dealer, and creates penalties for straw purchases and gun trafficking. On Saturday, before signing the bill into law, Mr. Biden said he was present when previous gun legislations were passed 3 decades ago and stressed the importance of the legislation. In sports, Super Eagles striker Taiwo Awoniyi has signed for newly promoted Nottingham Forest for an undisclosed club record fee. The 24-year-old joins from German Bundesliga club Union Berlin for a reported £17.5 million on a 5-year deal after scoring 20 goals in 43 games in all competitions last season for Union. 15 of his goals in 31 Bundesliga games helped Union Berlin finish 5th, thereby qualifying for the UEFA Europa League for the first time since 2001-2002. This will be Awoniyi's second spell with an English Premier League side after starting his professional career at Liverpool in 2015, following his crucial role for the Golden Eaglets in their Under-17 World Cup triumph in 2013. Now, following his latest return to England, Awoniyi told Nottingham Forest website that he is excited by another opportunity to play in the Premier League, especially for a historic club like the Reds. Premier League side Brighton and Hove Albion have confirmed the signing of Simon Adingra on a 4-year deal. The youngster, who can operate on either left or right flanks, becomes the Seagulls' second signing of the summer. The 20-year-old arrives from Danish side Nordsjælland, a side he has been a part of since 2020. Adingra made his professional debut on April 18, 2021 in a 2-2 Superliga draw against Copenhagen. After coming on to replace Evan Mercic in the 68th minute of the game, he went on to score his team's second goal. And with that, we've come to the end of News Update on Trust TV this hour. For more news, connect with all our media platforms. I am Nten Epang. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next hour.